Good afternoon. Good afternoon. A very good afternoon. In a cold Gaborone. It's actually a joke what we call cold in Botswana. And it looks like a little bit of early winter because we get into like thick winter mid May. So this could be a little bit early. But then again, we are so happy to be here. Yet another beautiful podcast that we bring to you live from Gaborone in Botswana. My name is Miss Kim, and I'm joined here by Miss Yodit, a big fan of what we do. So obviously, we still focus and push all these team education agendas, different projects. We come to you with boot camps for young and old. And this time, we're focusing on our youth, which is quite a concern. It is a concern. We can just sit back and say there are no jobs. Yes, there are no jobs, but what can we do about that? So we want to be problem solvers. We want to tap into our creativity. We want to see how we can engage our youth and see to it they're productive. So I'm just going to pass the mic to Miss Yodit, who will introduce herself and tell us why she was interested in being a guest on this show today. Thank you. Over to you, Miss Yodit.
Thank you, Ms. Kim, and hello, everyone. We're joining you live from Gaborone. That's how we pronounce it here in Botswana. And Gaborone is a peaceful, lovely place. Yes, the weather is getting a bit cold, but it's a lovely kind of cold, one that I've enjoyed and I'm enjoying, and hopefully it won't get very, very cold. It's very exciting to be with you this afternoon. Yes, I am an enthusiastic champion and cheerleader of Destination Imagination and the work that Miss Kim is doing with young children. And today she's talking specifically about the youth. I'm a mother, I'm an auntie, and I have young people in my life who I'm a bit worried about in terms of what is their next step. What do they do? Those who are in between high school and college, what is it that they can do for themselves? And then, even beyond college, how do we ensure that they become active members of our communities, active members who are contributing by way of income as well as creative ideas to solution for some of the big challenges that we're faced with rather. So I'm looking forward to this presentation and hoping to inspire those of you who are not aware of the program to reach out to Ms. Kim so you can understand better what the offering is. Thank you, Ms. Kim, for this opportunity. Handing the mic back over to you.
Thank you, Miss Yodit. Always a pleasure having you. So, yes, education is a community project, and we don't claim to have all the answers. This is a collaborative effort where we consult parents, we consult educators, members of the community. We go to the chief, we go to children as well. They have a voice and they have a say. And of course, it takes a village to raise a child, and the village has decided. So we've been in this space for quite some years. And one of the biggest concern constantly we get is what next? Especially that transition phase when our children finish high school or they don't do very well in high school and then they're stuck. They can't get to colleges, they can't be admitted in universities, and they get despondent. And of course, we're very much concerned at the rate of crime and how it has gone high. So we're looking at how can we engage them? What activities do we have for them? Now, as a part of Destination Imagination, which is a global organization which has trained thousands and thousands of youth across the globe, we look critically into supporting that transition phase. And it's not a nice feeling when youth are constantly branded as lazy. Are they really lazy? And then if they're lazy, I'll go back to my mom who used to say, the apple does not fall far from the tree. So these are our children. If they're lazy, then we've contributed to their laziness. Where were we? How did we raise them? How did we get here that we have lazy kids? So the village has risen up to the occasion and wants to see, can we change the narrative? Thousands of brilliant youth from the village to the cities, they're keen to work, they need guidance. They face no income and lack critical skills for the digital age. They don't know what to do. Some of them, they don't have the resources. We keep telling them, create your own job. How do you create your own job when you can't access basics, what you need? Sometimes it's just a laptop, sometimes it's just internet, sometimes it's just electricity. Then how do we expect them to be a part of this digital era? So this program is designed specifically to bridge to the future that they deserve, to awaken them, to support them, and to show them you can change your life, you can design it, you can create it, you can have a better tomorrow. So, Miss Judith, as a keen supporter of what we do and a mom of many children, from your children that you birth to the children, the community that you support, I'm sure you've been very keen to understand what exactly we do. I'm not sure if you would want to ask me a question or I go to the next slide.
Actually, thank you, Miss Kim. I'd unmuted myself because for some reason I can't find the where, what you call it, the icon where I can raise my hand. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. But as you were speaking about our lazy children, our lazy youth, and you rightfully say, you know, the possibilities that they're not lazy, they're probably just bored. But there's something else as well that I'd like for you to take into consideration as you are rolling out this program. Part of and it's a passion of yours, something that I'm running very fast to catch up with, and that's technology. So there's a possibility that whilst the young people will be very excited about some of the things that they're learning, there's a possibility that their caregivers, whether it's their aunt, their grandparents, may be a little bit confused. So, in other words, they will attribute the way in which our children are behaving as laziness. But it's possibly that they don't understand that times have changed. Let me say, we don't understand that times have changed. So, a child these days may be reluctant to go outside and do some gardening, which is something that was expected possibly when we were children. But they can sit on a computer to
Hmm?
what's the word, right? To
Design
develop,
something?
to design,
Yes.
to innovate. So there's, I think,
Yes.
one of the things that I'd like for you to consider is how do you bring us along? Us as in the parents,
Mm.
the caretakers, those of us who don't necessarily understand what this whole AI thing is about, and how do we appreciate the gifts that our children probably have, but we mistake it for something else. So that's my comment for now, Miss Kim. Not any questions at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, and it's a very good question, and it's truly a concern. It's literally you take me back to when I was growing up. Anytime for me to dance in front of my parents was taken to be naughty. I don't know if you experienced that. Well, you grew up in the city, I grew up in the village. That could be different. In the city, maybe it was taken to be, oh, she's assertive, she's expressing herself. For me, then, dancing, especially to pop music, my mom would look at me like, can you go and get your book? The right thing to do was take your book. And here we are, as time advances and as times change, now we're looking into our children, like literally encouraging them to learn how to dance because we feel that's a nice way of expressing it yourself. That's a nice way of building your confidence, right? Now, when we push a little bit back, my grandmother was very lucky to go to school, but she was the first in her generation to go to school, which obviously it was started one and two. Then my mom was lucky to go up to Form 2 and then go to a teaching college, right? So when you think about it, my grandmother ran away from home for her to go to school. That was not acceptable. You were supposed to get married at the age of 15, right? And then when we look at that transition, times have changed. Right now, we're not looking at our young kids, our young adults getting married before they get careers, before they do their masters, they get their jobs, they earn an income. So the same thing, we need to work on a mindset shift and get to understand times have changed. When we see our children on those gadgets, which I'll still emphasize, there has to be responsibility on both sides, not abuse of gadgets, not being on tech all the time. There is a balance that's needed. We're looking at going hybrid. It's very important. But then there's a lot that they learn when they get on that YouTube channel. Of course, responsibly. We need to know, what are you watching? What are you doing? But when us, we had to go and farm, and that's what we were supposed to do. I am sure some people growing up in my generation, you would get a beating if you're reading a book instead of gardening. Right now, it's totally different. We want them to study. So I don't know if that brings a bell, but then just to get a little bit to answering your question, we do a lot of stakeholders engagements where we workshop parents to bring them up to speed so they can get to understand. So within our project, we make sure we will call upon social workers to be in the room. We get guidance and counseling teachers, and we hold workshops for teachers. So we always make sure before we do a project within a school or even within the community, we go to parents teachers association meetings. Then we explain to parents, and so much trying to demystify the emerging technologies like AI, cybersecurity, digital marketing, explain them in a simple, relatable way that parents can understand. We also share with them why these skills matter, how the world of work is changing, and why youth must prepare in a different way. Show them these are the future careers. So, parents, we show them practical examples of how tech is shaping industries from farming to medicine to entrepreneurship to help them connect personally. Where you give an example, you tell a parent, think about your catapults. Think about if this drone that I'm teaching your son to fly could be able to go and we can fly it right from here, take it to the village and monitor personally and get to see, has it checked on our cows? Did they eat today? Are they healthy? And maybe even drop medicine for the cattle farm. The person is the headman, what we call them. So there's so many use cases. So we hold those parental monthly updates. We do a lot of communication and engagement on our social media platforms. We get to an extent of translating what we're posting in local languages so that parents can engage. So we send simple tools and we engage them, the simple activities that we're doing, we make sure they can get to be a part of. We do family challenges, we do showcase where we strongly encourage that when we're doing an activity in a school, can we have some of the PTA members to come and see? So we constantly work on building the parental confidence in technology. Mini sessions that parents can also see. This is something that can as well benefit me as a parent. So the community engagement is very much encouraged. And that is why, like in this particular show, we've invited quite a number of parents so that they can get an idea. What are we talking about? So it's continuous communication. Does that help?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Kim. I'm going to hold my comments and questions for now. Otherwise, you will not get through your presentation. So let me give you back the mic. Thank you.
Thank you. So, and I see we're getting comments. Please tell us where you're joining us from. I see our friends on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Sorry, I can't be able to access YouTube right now, but I can see on YouTube. I can see on LinkedIn and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. Please post your questions. Tell us, give us your ideas. I mean, you are our mentors that we count on. You help us, you shape what we do, and you constantly advising us, and we very much appreciate. Nice to see you, Lady Drew. very, very big fan of Destination Imagination in our STEAM projects. We have Amos Onyengo as well, big, big fan of the projects we do, and a champion, a big ambassador of youth. He actually runs our Africa Ambassador program for Destination Imagination. He's the person in charge. And getting back to my presentation. So we're looking at the joblessness and the frustration and the fear and the forgotten potential where sometimes life just goes on. And especially when we speak about the marginalized communities. So, how can we make sure we nurture the skills, the confidence, and guide them? How do we ensure they can access the skills they need? So, we're going to be running a 60, which actually translates to 90 days challenge with youth. It's going to be specifically us working with them for every day for 60 days, and then they're going to do job shadowing for 30 days. This every day they'll come to our center from Monday to Thursday, half day. They'll be given assignments to work on. And then Fridays, they are technically off, but we still expect them to put in like 3-4 hours. Same with Saturday. It's super, super intense. So it will be extremely learner centered, where they will tap into their creativity, their problem solving skills. We have specific skills that we will ensure they walk away with. However, it is them doing. So they'll work in teams of 5. It's project based learning and solve a problem existing within their community with specific structures that they have to use. And then ultimately, they will compete. So these are challenges that are done in many other countries. So they'll be doing a challenge that is actually getting reviewed and going for final competitions end of May in US. We'll be a little bit behind because we're going to start our challenge in June. But basing it on how they perform, they can now be entered to join the new challenge 2020, the last quarter of 2025, and maybe get on global stage to showcase what they have done 2026 for the global competitions. So on this, we access critical digital skills that open doors. You have to be a brand. So they will learn how to build their own websites, how to have a social media presence. They'll have guidance from mentors who will understand their challenges and work with them. They'll get opportunities to build real world projects and confidence. And then, of course, we'll be supported by a community that fosters growth and resilience. So we partner with community members. We talk to like our University of Botswana. Those professors become part of the project. They're the ones who come judge and review. We go to technical colleges. Depends on what the challenge is about. If they focus on cybersecurity, we go to an expert of cybersecurity. I hope that helps. Miss Judith,
Yes,
would you
it
like
helps.
to ask a question?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Kim. Again, appreciating your elaborate details on what the program will bring. A couple of questions. First, on the mentors that you're going to be inviting to this program, what are their backgrounds? Who are they? If you can just give us an idea of that. And then you mentioned Destination Imagination, the international organization. I'm wondering, will there be an opportunity for young people in Botswana who are part of this program for DI Botswana? Will they have an opportunity to interact with young people from other parts of the continent and possibly other parts of the world? Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. So we understand and deeply appreciate the skills we have within. Yes, we are pretty well networked. Sometimes we'll call experts from outside, and then you can see like from our social media community, our LinkedIn community, sometimes we invite some experts who virtually come and help them. However, we have a lot of support locally. So we partner with, in most cases, we always work with the University of Botswana. We work with specific banks, and also we work with UNESCO. UNESCO is one of our biggest partners. So we will call like the STEM education expert, the coordinator from UNESCO, who is always willing to come and guide and mentor our students. That one comes and supervises, gives mentorship and gives guidance subject to what they're working on. So let's say, for instance, they want to innovate and come up with a drone that is using solar, something AI infused, it doesn't make noise when it's flying, it's environmental friendly, something super unique because we allow them to be free thinkers, innovate, create, come up with something. Then we will go to the airport authorities, that department, and look for experts in aviation industry that come and mentor them for that specific challenge. So, subject to what they choose. The previous one, we had quite a number of students that came up with solutions for fintech space. So, we outsourced senior bankers that are so smart in that space of automation in the fintech industry, and they were the ones who were guiding them. But then remember, every group, so they're going to work in teams of 5 5. Each team comes up with something different. So we plug in as per the expert in a particular subject matter. Climate action, we go to experts in that space. Entrepreneurship, we go to experts in that space. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you, Miss Kim. Just a couple of other questions, and I don't know if you're able to answer this one now, but the challenge that these young people pick, because from what you've said, it seems like they're the ones who are going to select the challenges. What kind of guidance do you provide them or criteria in the selection of the challenges that they're going to undertake?
Thank you. I love your questions. So, I'd actually love to do another presentation where I can take the audience nicely, extremely well, how destination imagination programs are designed. And this is
Okay.
a big reason we work with destination imagination, as we call it DI. So, DI has been working on these programs for the past 30 years. And what is so unique about DI is they have experts who research annually and come up with different challenges, right? So we have the core 6 challenges to choose from. However, from those 6 challenges, so it could be scientific, it's mechanical, it's these are not and these fine arts, these are technical challenge. However, from each challenge every year, it is reviewed and designed in a different way, right? So, and this is what every student across the globe does. Every student does the same challenge. So we're going to give them those specific challenges. So we first train them for 1 week. Then week 2, they get into the challenges. So we first make sure they understand basics in coding, artificial intelligence. We do some activities on robotics, some entrepreneurship training, because they will still do like there's a lot of there's constantly shooting of a video. They use it's very hands-on, it's very technical. They might need a 3D printer to design and come up with an object. In most cases, they come up with a tool, which that's why we partner with universities so that they can use their technical, their facilities, their labs. So the students choose. So from that 1 week training, they look at the structures. We always have fundamentals that have to be there. Soft skills have to be there. Technology has to be there, right? Then you're given some guidelines on it. It will be things like you solve a problem existing in your community. It's always packaged something similar to that. You have a budget of $200. You are supposed to solve this challenge within 21 days. So you must come up with a solution. So you give us the guidelines. What is happening? Is it climate action? Is it pollution? Is it crime? Do you want to dye in your diamonds and ship them direct in a better way? So children from different communities come up with different problems and also different age groups. We've worked with university graduates, and it was something else. My goodness, they actually you want to patent the ideas they come up with. It is so exciting. So different age groups, Primary school kids, when you ask them about their challenges, they're different. So they all solve their problem, the same structure, but they'll come up with different ideas. High school, university, the same. You get it?
Great. Yes, I do. Thank you, Miss Kim.
It is exciting.
It's very exciting, and I think you'll probably find yourself in a classroom with the young people and very eager parents or caregivers who want to
Yes.
participate and be part of it. So I think you need to plan for that as well as you're planning for the workshops.
Yeah.
Thanks, Miss Kim.
You know, you know what I love so much about DI? It's sort of a Pandora box you're opening every day. It is so mysterious. And the same way, it's exciting when you're supervising the students because every day they come up with something different. And it's equally exciting to the students. So last month, I was assigned to supervise some students in Pakistan. And it was blowing my mind. These were university students, and every day I would speak to them. We were supposed to speak for 45 minutes to an hour, but we would end up with 3 hours. Because, they tell you about what they've gone through, the challenges, how they've overcome them, what they've learned. So, this is a season, or this project is designed in a way that ultimately you find kids going like, I want to be a doctor. After their 60 days challenge, they come back and tell you, no, I've actually known who I am and what I want to be. Because they touch on so many different things. So it's sort of a self discovery journey that happens at the same time. It is very fulfilling. You should join us.
I think I was about to say, Miss Kim, I think once you're done with your youth, perhaps you need to schedule something similar for people who are older, who have lived a little bit longer, and who feel and believe that they're as wise as they can be. But maybe there's room for growth there for all of us. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm also excited about the fact that you're bringing to this program your international experience, your exposure to young people from different parts of the world, because I feel that one of the ways that you can become even more innovative is when you bring different cultures and different people
Mm,
together to
absolutely.
innovate together, to create
Yes.
solutions together. And it also helps build bridges across different communities. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited. I thought I knew a lot about your program, but clearly not. So let me keep quiet and allow you to finish the presentation.
When you talk about adults, we've done this challenge several times with teachers. My first experience, I made a huge mistake that I did a boot camp with both students and teachers together. That flopped on my face so badly. Yes.
I can imagine. I can
Yes, because
imagine.
it was horrible. Teachers were so upset because the kids were so quick and they were intimidating the teachers. So I learned my lesson. I don't mix them anymore. So now we repeated it again. We went and trained high school. And in most cases, I think a lot of countries in Africa, this was in Zanzibar, most high school teachers are master's graduates. And then, of course, they're in their 40s, 50s. By the time you're doing your master's, you're in your 40s or 50s in Africa. I think so in most places. It was brilliant. It was so engaging. They had so much fun. This is when you see adults, of course, teachers, they're rigid, they're looking at you, they're just observing you. We have so many different ways of engaging them and making them have fun and just like us. Because obviously, the first thing, you just have to like each other for you to work together. Within an hour or two, we do a lot of icebreakers, and then they go like, it's okay to play, it's okay to bring out the child in me, it's okay to have fun, and it's so okay to make mistakes. Because that's the biggest thing. As growing up in Africa, we're not allowed to make mistakes. We're beaten for making mistakes. We're beaten when we fail exam. So
I,
this is
and I
this is
can
a whole new thing.
Yeah, no, and
Yes.
I think what's really wonderful about this presentation, Miss Kim, is that as you're sharing with us your experiences as a child, and the things that you're bringing to
Yes.
this program that you're so passionate about, is trying to correct those things that haven't necessarily worked well. And I can now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was around confidence building. How does this program contribute to building the confidence of young people? And I can see that coming through already
Yes.
by allowing young people to be creative and let them be to do
Yeah.
what they need to do. Allow
Yeah.
them to make the mistakes that they need to make as you're gently guiding them and teaching them
Yes.
how to actually use the tools that you're presenting. So
Mhm.
it's very exciting. I think things that are built from passion are delivered
Yeah.
better. And so I'm excited for the young people who are going to join the class. And like I said, I think parents will be knocking on your doors as well, on your door rather, to say, please, can we have something as well?
It is so exciting. It's truly exciting. Thank you. I'm glad you get it. Yeah, it's confidence building is one of the biggest skills we want the kids to walk away with. DI is sort of 80% soft skills, and we have seen it. It is the most sought after skill in the world. Research has been done, and every CEO is saying, especially right now with the advent of AI, we can get our PhDs just by within a week or maybe a month. We can get our PhDs, but can we apply? Yes, we can. Which it's fine. You
Yeah,
got your
I
PhD.
don't
You got
want
the
to.
PhD.
No, I hear you, Miss Kim. I don't want to interrupt you now because we're going to get into a lengthy debate. But yeah, no, I hear you. Soft skills are absolutely critical. You can be the smartest person in the world and think of yourself as the greatest leader. But for as long
Yeah.
as you don't know how to work with human beings, with people, and you're not able to
Yes.
empathize with people and understand and listen, then you're
Yes.
not a leader and you're not going to get very
Absolutely.
far. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Miss Kim.
And you know what is so exciting about this? I was actually really sitting on the fence when I was about to start DI. That's about 5 years ago. I've been in education all my life. But this one, what I kept on telling the DI team head office in the US is, this is exciting. I want to bring this in Africa, but I don't know how to relate with kids. I'm not going to be the one going to class. I was so scared. So the first day we go to St. Joseph Senior School in Gaborone, we get into the hall. There are like 1,000 adolescent kids looking at me. I wanted to run away. Yet, I am a qualified speaker. I have spoken internationally, but to old people, adults my age. I have never spoken to children, addressed children. So I was really scared. How am I going to relate with kids? And there's so much fun. Now it becomes so difficult to get me to leave the classroom with kids. So they built my confidence. They encouraged me. So we laugh at each other. We've learned it's okay to make mistakes. We laugh when we make mistakes. We they are okay. It's okay for them to correct me and come and tell me, challenge my thinking and tell me, no, we're not going to do it that way. And this is some of the skills, even as we run our businesses. We need to learn to listen to our staff. We need to learn to listen to our community, our children. So, yes, let me just get into the skills they're going to learn. There's digital marketing. This is a very important skill that everybody needs to know. So they will learn how to create their social media campaigns, run ads, use Canva or any other platforms, understand what is SEO, search engine optimization, Google Analytics. This is how we're preparing them for still a future that we don't know, skills or careers that we don't know about. I could be an expert on coming up with courses. I create a lot of courses. But how do those courses help me if I don't know how to market them? If I can't meet an audience, I can't create a little flyer and get my product to the market. So these are basic skills that they need to walk away from. Then, of course, AI tools, especially for business. So, for them to boost their productivity, they need to understand automation. This beautiful screen that you're watching, it takes me like 10, 15 minutes to create because I use tools like Gamma AI. and so many other tools that we want them to learn how to use, automate. And most important, you have to build your website. That is going to be like their first assignment. So by the time they're done, they're very clear on what exactly they live with their personal websites, and there's something they're marketing. We all have something that we can sell. It can be your skills. It can be for you to package yourself as somebody who can get to an Ivy League university. That's what you want. A sought out speaker, somebody who can get a scholarship, somebody who can support the community. So then there's e-commerce and drop shipping. This is huge. We have so many products that we can scale up and sell. We need to stop this thing of we produce, but we don't market. We wait for somebody else to come and market for us our products. So we need to learn how can we create these e-commerce platforms, and also make sure that somebody in the US can buy this beautiful stool that I've learned how to make, or this beautiful piece of art. Then, of course, we can talk about technology and exclude cybersecurity. This is so critical. So we need them to understand as we encourage you to get into that space. One, there's so many jobs in the cybersecurity space. Two, it's essential for the business. Every day, people are getting smarter as AI advances, and crime is just getting to another level. So they need to be very much aware. Then within all these, there will be a lot of skills in the soft skill space. We focus so much on the four C's, which is communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So at the end of these 90 days, we need to see that these are confident students who can stand in front and pick the mic. They can face the president. They can talk to anybody, be it go for an interview and sell themselves extremely well. We also want to make sure that they can problem solve. A lot of this unemployment we have, the root cause is we don't know how to solve problems. We don't know how to tap into our creativity and start thinking and our critical thinking. That right now, I have a skill. I went to school, I was taught how to be a teacher. How about if I can look for students? I speak English very well. I can look for Japanese, Chinese, Germans, other people who don't speak this language, and teach them how to speak. I can also be a virtual assistant for companies in the US, in the UK. I'm on the digital space. And why not? I'm very good in HR. I'm very good in admin. I'm very good in accounts. We all have a talent, even if it's not a skill you've gone to school to learn. There's something we're so good at. I'm a very good cook. I know how to cook this and that dish. So why can't I cook it and post on Facebook and get people placing orders that on Friday night they know they order for food from my house and I deliver. So we want to make sure that our youth can learn to be very, very good problem solvers and create their own gigs or side hustles as they transition to university. Am I
I
preaching
like
good?
the Yes, you
Mhm.
are. I like the blend of different really essential skills that we all need. I think I'm going to stop talking about youth because a lot of the things that you're mentioning here are also important for those of us who are working to find a new passion or working to identify new sources of income. But what I wanted to ask you, Ms. Kim, is one of the concerns that I have as a parent, especially when it comes to AI tools, is how does that impact the natural creativity that my children have? If it's so easy to go into a laptop or an iPad to develop everything, you just give it a prompt. I'm told you just have to ask it the right questions and it'll do whatever it wants, whatever you want it to do. And I know, and I have a deep appreciation for reading. You mentioned the fact that your parents wanted to see you with a book and not in front of the television or skipping rope outside or whatever it was. They want you to read, and there's a reason for that. Reading gives you a very strong foundation for many different things. So now if we're saying, hey, I'm going to give you the tools to do whatever it is that you want to do, you just have to prompt it. How do you balance that? How do I ensure that my child will continue to be a creative person, We'll continue to look inward, to identify ways in which to address different things and not always depend on these AI tools. I think we had a conversation one day to say, what happens if somebody unplugs, if that's even possible? All of these things. And I think you told me, well, they'd have to do one, two, three, four for that to happen. But still, that day may come. But more than that, it's, you want your children to be creative. You want them to be authentic so that whatever it is that they're presenting to the world, to their community, is that it comes from them. It comes from them having put in the right. Okay, here's, now you can tell my age. Well, my hair gives it away, but my, in terms of putting putting in the work, putting in the work, go and write an essay, put in the work, do the research. Now within 5 minutes, you're telling me you can do a PhD in a week. That's just, it's I don't understand, nor am I going to believe that. But how do you balance that, Miss Kim? How do you balance AI tools that will give you everything and anything in a minute, in a matter of minutes, with authentic creativity? Some of it is natural, you're born with it. Others, it comes as a result of hard work and dedication to your craft. Help me with that one. Thanks.
I love this question. So, and this is from my personal experience. Of course, there has been a huge debate, and obviously some people might summarize it or just go like, there's always pros and cons in everything. Every tech space we get to, there are always pros and cons. There are people today who cannot use a microwave, it's causing cancer. There are people today who cannot use a smartphone. And I am not disputing AI may not be the holy grail as we claim it to be or we perceive it to be. What we might look at is how it's enhancing productivity. However, because for productivity, it's gone a notch higher. I'm able to do things that I couldn't do in the past. So maybe if I can start on, it's a bit of a complex situation. It can both enhance and it can still challenge natural creativity. I don't dispute, depending on how it is used. You get it? So, first and foremost, this is a tool. I've always perceived myself as a not creative person. It's even a little bit, I don't like admitting it, but I know I really struggle. Like creativity in the sense of building, coming up with a flyer. You get it? And I've actually never allowed myself to even try. I've always worked with designers, which can be very frustrating. You want something small edited, but you have to keep on looking for someone. Now, for me, the advent of AI has made me a designer. To tell you that the slide that you're seeing, I'm the one who did them, even the banner at my back. So, the positive effects, one of them is, truly speaking, AI amplifies creativity. This first, AI is a tool. And it can suggest for you ideas, colors, storylines, design variations, and content structures that you may not have thought about. So instead of replacing creativity, it is sparks for me new directions that the human mind, sometimes we just, especially for me, I mean, I think it's human nature. When you get so tired of thinking of trying to create, you move on to something else. I'm a little bit impatient. I actually think good designers are very patient people. Then, of course, it brings for me speed and efficiency. Since it can be able to handle the repetitive work, the second task like cropping the image, sorting out data, grammar corrections. So it frees up my mental space to allow me to focus on becoming more imaginative, getting more ideas, being a better creator, and access to inspiration. So through AI, I'm able to instantly access brilliant, beautiful pictures. It can be global styles, they can be diverse culture. Like today, when I was creating this proposal, you must be good with prompt engineering because you must learn how to tell it that I want beautiful African children that are not looking malnourished. They must be looking happy. You get it? So all those ideas I am able to access if I want to get people from Mexico, I want to get people from Brazil, from Belize, from wherever. It's giving me that opportunity. So it frees me up and gives me an opportunity to bring in different threads. I can actually tell AI, I need women who are 90 years old. I want to see people who were born in the 80s, in the 60s. Something that we were not able to do before. Then, of course, personalization. AI allows me to create customized experience for products that most easily I may not be able to. So, yes, there could be some negative effects. I can mention some of them. There's a little bit of a risk where then we become so dependent on it. There's over reliance and laziness. You can go like now. I feel like even if you tell me let's do something in the next 1 hour, it's gonna take me 10 minutes to create because I know I'll just ask AI and it's gonna give me a solution. So that way the experience can be, we might struggle with that. It will assist, but it will not feel or live for those experiences. It cannot, it doesn't have emotions. It's a tool, and that's how we need to treat it. So since we've trained it and you still have to customize so that it suits you, if you don't apply your mind, it doesn't do for you. And that is why right now prompt engineering is quite a thing. And you might find it's not reducing problems or solving problems for everyone, because you must use your natural creativity. Otherwise, you'll be wrestling with a lot of challenges. You will lose the resilience, the critical problem solving muscle if you don't apply it. Of course, there's the authentic voice, because right now you can do a podcast. I see, like, I love being on YouTube and learning something, but I still get put off when I listen to it and I go like, that's AI. So you still miss the natural storytelling element, the personality, the authenticity from the humans. It looks
And you
like
know,
I give it.
I'm so
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Kim, but
it's okay.
it's one of the things that really worries me when you're talking about getting onto YouTube and you are able to tell something
Mm,
that's AI generated, a voice that's not
yes.
human. But I can
Yeah.
tell you a number of instances where I've been with somebody and they're on their YouTube channel. Maybe these are
Mhm.
people who haven't necessarily, well, who have not been able to access any type of technology courses. And they're listening to
Mhm.
a news channel thinking that this is real. But when I listen myself, I'm like, wait a minute, this is not real. So then you're getting into
Yeah.
this back and forth. What do you mean it's not real? It's a person who's speaking. But for whatever reason, you can tell that this thing is an automated voice.
Yeah.
It's such a dangerous thing. And I know we're getting off topic, but I think that it is essential to teach young people, even children, how to pick up, how to
Mhm.
understand whether something is AI
Yeah.
generated, because there's a lot of
Mhm.
junk out there that people listen to
Yes.
thinking that it's real, and
Mm.
therefore they're misguided. So if
Yeah.
you can somehow infuse that into the training that you're providing, because I feel that
Mm.
very few of us are able to pick up an AI
Yeah.
generated voice. For those of you
Yes.
who are on YouTube and your gadgets constantly, perhaps not, but for some people who don't listen as much,
Mhm.
it's a problem. So just wanted to note that there, Miss Kim, for you to please try and address that somewhere in your programs. Thank you.
I promise you. I promise you. I know how you feel about all this stuff. We actually, it's let's say the genie is out of the bottle and we can't pack it back. However, we are campaigning on use these tools in a responsible way, and just get to know these tools will not do until you do. And that's why we still have a lot of people that are not able to automate the process, or some people who are doing, if you do your storytelling, you're not authentic, you're using I actually saw somebody complaining earlier on LinkedIn, and he's one of the LinkedIn influencers that teaches us a lot on how to utilize these platforms. And he was complaining about the way people are commenting and automating the likes and comments on YouTube. And I went like, humans are humans. They're gonna try and do anything to make a buck. But how do you relate when that's not authentic? I've seen it like some people hire people to use their personal LinkedIn pages. I've had a lot of people approach me, even my own team, like, can I help you manage your personal page? Then I go like, no, how? I have a personal relationship with, that's my community, that's my tribe. The company pages, that's okay, but not my personal pages. Because how are you going to respond when Lady Drew is asking a question and I know how we relate? You get it? So that authenticity that humans we need to nurture and get to know, these are agents that are supposed to aid and support us to automate and enhance productivity, but they're not gonna bring the human element, the emotions. And that's why it's called artificial intelligence. It's not natural. It has its place.
Yes, it has its place. Absolutely. All right.
So we look at the bonus skills. I'll just quickly mention there's obviously public speaking skill. It's such an important skill that has gotten me out of trouble so many times. As somebody who has always been an entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur, I've been in business for the past 30 years. As soon as I graduated, I only worked for 1 year. And that 1 year, I lost my job 3 times. And I realized, let me try to be on my own. So maybe I got scared or traumatized of the corporate world. So I know this is it. I better just learn how to be in business. And as you get into business, there comes a time that your business goes belly up. I think my businesses have gone belly up twice nicely. Where one day you're running a big business, the next minute you actually want to go to your mama's couch. So, with those, one of the skills you learn is you need to have fundamental assets, as I call them. So, I become the capital, the assets. I use what I have at my disposal. And one thing that has always given me some capital to bounce back is public speaking. My abilities to stand in front of people, do a presentation, explain to them, and I would package public speaking with selling. Learning how to sell is such an important skill. For us to have Botswana to be such a stable country, we've had the best salesmen as our president. So when we look at sales like it's haggling for prices, being an insurance salesperson, no, we have the best salesmen as our president. And so for me, public speaking, especially when my business, one time my business went belly up and I went out all out again, advertising myself as a public speaker, and I started getting paid to speak. To date, I still get invited to go somewhere and I get some money. And speaking for me, it's not so much about the per diem or the money you pay me to speak, but engaging with the audience, because then from there, a business opportunity comes out. As a book's author as well, it's such a smart way to be able to sell your book. You don't even go stand in front of people saying, hey, I'm selling this book. No, you mention your book as you speak, and people start buying your books. Then, of course, collaboration. It is so important for us to learn how to work as a community in the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. It's so important. How do you go for these speaking engagements? How do you go for an event and make sure you've engaged with somebody, you're collaborating, you're supporting what they do? Then, of course, I've been explaining through and through about problem solving, creativity, time management, and digital etiquette. Especially digital etiquette, I'll touch on your brand. It's what we say when you're not in the room. So, how, when I look at your social media platform, who do I see? How is your picture? How is your image? How do you present yourself? Right? Little things like just keeping time. And I know it's something we really struggle with within the continent, but we love and we usually like saying, this is African time, this is our culture. Some of those things are not helping us and we need to drop them. It is so important. You're preparing yourself to meet a global community that does not align with your African culture of not keeping time. And time is money. So these are some of the skills we'll make sure. So we're usually very strict within the bootcamp. There are points for you to earn, and you're going to lose your points if you don't keep time, you don't submit your assignment on time. We don't do exams, no, but you are graded from day one. You'll obviously get a certificate, but every day you're in an exam room. So you build that habit, you build that muscle. Would you want to ask a question or I go to the next one, the next slide?
Let me please go to the next slide, Miss Kim, and then I'll
Okay.
ask questions. Thanks.
Yes. So this is hands-on learning with expert coaches. We do this young generation, I wouldn't even say just our kids, but even us, our attention span is diminishing every day. If anytime I want to help even adult teachers, because we coach, we train adults, people lose interest the minute you keep on talking. But the minute you involve them, you engage them, they learn. So this one from day one, they do. They collaborate, they come up with challenges, they work as a team. We give them resources from the softwares they're going to work with, from the laptops they need to use. They come and it's everything is plug and play. Of course, we encourage parents to invest in laptops for these kids because sometimes we might talk about our children are lazy, our youth don't want to do this and that, but there are few tools you need. You need internet, you need a good smartphone, you need a laptop, just a few basic things. I still do not agree that you can't solve a problem without them. No. We teach them how to be innovative enough that you can actually share one laptop with the whole neighborhood. You can go to a cafe and still be a virtual assistant, design a flyer. You have to be resourceful enough. Though it does make a huge difference if you have good internet, you have a good laptop, you have a good phone. It makes a huge difference. So this program is powered by Destination Imagination, which is a company that is active, an organization active in 30 plus countries, impacting more than 1.5 million youth worldwide. We run Destination Imagination in Africa. So we have partners in Zanzibar, in Mauritius, in Tanzania, and we have a presence in South Africa. However, we are most active in Botswana. We do a lot of work in Botswana, proudly. um, what the youth will walk away with, they'll get a tangible digital portfolio, a personal website that can showcase their skills and projects with a professional way that impresses a potential employer or a client. We want to shift their mindset. Don't constantly wait for jobs. You can also create a job. Let it be either or. You're not stuck. Then we're going to teach them how to network, how to connect and collaborate with like-minded youth. So we'll showcase them. We will introduce them to the global world. We'll make sure they are talking to youth in Japan, youth in Singapore that are also doing the same project, youth in New York, youth in Canada. So once they do this program, they become DI alumni students, which is such a powerful thing because then you've joined a network. And alumni of DI constantly have so many privileges they get simply from applying for a scholarship. The minute you say, I'm a DI alumni, a lot of universities know what that means and it holds its weight. And of course, it's also because of how you present yourself. Then they will get certificates. We are Botswana Qualifications Authority certified, and DI Global also has global certifications for their certificates. So we'll get a certificate that's endorsed by BQA locally and by our global partners. So here they will have developed practical, in demand digital skills, professional skills that will open a world of possibilities. It's quite exciting. We're looking forward to getting students that age group 16 to 25. I'm struggling with, I have a few inquiries for 27-year-olds, 29s. We'll see, maybe we can push it up to 29 years. Then we have individuals who have finished their education but are still seeking direction, those who finished university but they're still unemployed, they're jobless, they're eager to get another skill. We might do for the over 30, we will plan a different project. We also have a lot of one-day workshops where sometimes they come for just a day and they get to see, am I interested in this? Do I want to do this again? So we urge families and the members of the society to support the youth. It's a hectic boot camp. They work extremely hard, and we ensure. I mean, it's life. There's always something. There's always something interrupting you. We lost, I think, 1 week of working a few weeks ago when there were floods. But then, how do we mitigate that and make sure that we still achieve our goals? So, bottom line, we are focusing on solving the unemployment crisis. We need to make sure that our youth can get to understand they can create their own side hustles. Thank you. Do you have some
Thank you, Ms.
questions?
Kim. No, no more questions. I see that we are out of time. So maybe I'll leave the questions for next time. But just to say that I really appreciate your presentation. Every time I sit with you, I learn something new about you, which is wonderful. But I'm looking forward to interrupting or being part of one or two of the sessions that you're going to be having with the young people. And then I will continue to remind you that we need to do something for people in a different age group, those of us who are keen to learn, but were not possibly able to in the past. So thank you so much for that, Ms. Kim. And yeah, I'm excited. I think the folks who have been sharing comments on the chat are excited as well. Yes, let's do this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Yoyo. It's been a pleasure having you. We love your questions. Thank you, our audience. I see a lot of engagement on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. I'll get back to you and respond to each and every one of your questions. I see a lot of support. Thank you, Dr. Patricia, Lady Drew, our Selassie, and everybody else that I'm not in a position to mention your name. We are in this together. The village has risen up to the occasion, and the village needs support. We must educate our youth. Thank you and goodbye.